Alright, hey guys, it's Frog Slicer. So, what I have here is the new deck list that Dmitri has been working on. I helped him a little bit, but he eventually worked so hard on it by himself I can hardly take credit at this point. I have with me Dmitri. You got third place with this deck at Ribbit Rulers yesterday, right?
Yeah. What's up, guys? Yeah, third place. Um, really happy with the run. Really happy with the build. Few changes I might make, but yeah, I really like it overall. I don't think there's much to change about it.
Well, that's great. It looks to the untrained eye, it doesn't look too different. One thing that you can note from any of my videos is I don't run the Future Fusion thing. I've known about this forever, and I just never really liked it. But I think now the deck is consistent enough that you really do want another enabler. So you run the Garnet Ocean. Some other changes is this one's huge. I had a really hard time wrapping my mind around this one. Two Exodius instead of three. And then the Grand Discovery Level Eater, which Dmitri himself didn't realize the utility of until Symbol of Heritage. So I know I kind of stole some of your thunder, but do you want to go in and explain some of the changes?
Yeah. So I definitely started from your deck.
Hmm.
So full credit to you. This would never have happened without the combos that you found, the videos that you made, and everything. The where it started off with us trying out Dandy as a different advantage engine, um, figuring out that that could potentially work even better than like Thunder Dragons, and finally realized that Level Leader was crazy. Uh, Not only could you like get advantage off a synchro that you make, but once you summon one Exodius, you go +5 immediately. And there were multiple nights in a row of me just realizing step by step how much crazier and crazier Level Leader was. And ultimately, you get so much advantage you don't need other Exodiuses. The first one is to gain advantage. The second one is just to shuffle everything back to make more synchros. And Heritage, as you said, massive increase to this deck. And it also makes you not need the third Exodius. The things that it does is it gives you an extra extender, potentially. Um, it gives you a draw loop that once you find Heritage, Brio, and you have poison draws and swap frogs in graveyard, you can do a draw loop that lets you discard a card to draw a card. You can draw through your entire deck that way every time once you get to that. And that
And
means
that's
every time you'll see all the
that's
Exodiuses you
deterministic.
want and all the right, completely deterministic.
Yeah.
So you get to do it a lot faster. You get to see all of the Exodiuses in your deck and the level eater every time. So you'll always be able to make full combo once you can get into that loop.
And
Um,
yeah, you also run three, so you can tutor for it with a powerful dragon.
yes, I was on two for a while, but the ability to tutor it becomes really powerful when you can reduce Des Frog with level leader to get it level 4, and then do like
Mm.
Fishborg plus Des
Mm.
Frog plus a frog, and then be like cycling level leader a few times off Power Tool to get extra cards. Otherwise, Power Tool would usually be 2- to be able to use. But that makes it work out really well, levels wise and everything.
Okay, that's an interesting scenario. And
So yeah, going through the, go ahead.
yeah, so one of the newer, now it's old news, but my old version it only ran one Trunade at 41 cards. Then eventually with the Dandelion change, which is now a level eater, we got it down to a 40 card deck with both. So you still have that, as well as fewer frogs than I ran, and some tricky stuff that I never ran. I know a lot of people are big on card destruction, but you also added the magical mallets.
Yeah, a lot of the changes from your deck to mine is I just wanted to cut down on every possible brick
Mm.
because ultimately this deck loses when it doesn't draw the cards it needs. Um, and so you just want as many searchers as you can and as many cards that won't brick you. And so you'll notice I'm not even running Treeborn in main.
Right? Yeah.
The reason is because you don't ever really need an extra summon. You already have enough off of all of your swaps, off of the symbols, off of the fish board. that you'll be able to do it. And I'm not running, like the Thunder Dragons were extra bricks. Moray I was finding to be really bricky, so I took those out because of the number of waters that you want to keep in your hand. You want Substitute in hand, you want Fishborg in hand, you usually want Swap in hand, because Swap can send your subs to graveyard so that you can either salvage them back or heritage them back. And so the cards that I've wanted to shuffle back are the bricks in my opening hand. They're things like the second heritage. They're things like an early Avarice, because I can get Avarice late after my draw loop's already going, and it'll be really valuable then. Sometimes the extra frogs too. But sometimes it's just like one frog that I want to shuffle back. And so having that flexibility matters a lot more to me than the extra one card that I would get.
Yeah, it seems incredibly powerful. I was super skeptical, and this was a last second change. But I think I agree, and we definitely saw one of them on the replays. That was a really valuable mallet that got you the Fishborg you needed.
Yeah. Because in testing, I would open hands like Substitute, Fishborg, Moray. And I'm like, okay, I need to either wait a turn, or do I Moray back a combo piece that I already have and then have to draw it again? I don't think so. Other advantages to the Future Fusion engine is because you were talking about that one earlier, and I think that's a really powerful addition. When you get the draw loop going, it doesn't matter if you draw it, because you can always just discard it. So unlike in the previous builds, it's not a brick halfway through your combo.
Right.
It's a better starter than Foolish, because it immediately makes Salvage live if you need to search Substitute, which is very strong. And Foolish being able to send Level Leader doesn't matter that much, because you can just wait and draw it later on. And the other big thing is when you get into a grind game, the threat of summoning Absolute Zero is very useful.
Yeah, it's incredibly real.
Yeah. In fourth, Ocean is an out to Dyna. Dyna is one of the cards that this deck struggles with a ton, and just by the fact that you have to run him, you could run Bubble Man instead, but it's just nice to have an extra out to Dyna in the main.
Right. Yeah, I think that's why we decided, like, in theory, you could do some stuff with Bubble Man, but I think this one comes out on top almost always.
Yeah.
So another thing to note is this is way less infinite. Like, the infinite is for the draw loop with Symbol Heritage, which it's just until you draw out your deck. But you're not setting up an infinite advantage turn like I did with my Gotham's Frogs deck. So all you're really doing is setting up an extreme advantage play, not some perfect lock.
Right. So I get enough advantage turn one to make double dupe plus double Stardust. And then I can follow it up with heavier Trunade, which I hold in my hand after, the draw loop.
Drawing your deck. Yeah.
Into Brionac or Mistworm, whichever I feel like making, to clear any monsters. Into Urukizis with triple arm attached, plus Goyo, plus Swap Frog, plus Level Eater to get lethal through Gor's Ortrack.
And that's lethal as long as you don't play all three upstarts. As long as you play at most two.
Right. I think two. Yeah. And so this really just you don't really need the infinite advantage that Iron Wall gives you, because you have enough advantage to do everything you could ever want.
Just because of the Level Eater interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really broke this deck open.
Yeah. The making of the Armory Arms requires the Symbols of Heritage to be online, kind of. Otherwise, you have to get pretty creative with it, because you use Swap plus Substitute plus Fishborg. And so you have to keep using Heritage to bring back your Swap and your Substitute. Yeah, I think this build is crazy strong.
Yeah, I definitely need to play.
Side deck.
Yeah, so this side deck is the sleekest version of the sides, because we talked about this a lot. This is like a work of art.
I could see a couple of changes, but I do really like it, and it is very strong. Um, One of the biggest things is you struggle with decks that have a lot of back row,
Mhm.
and monarchs are very good into that. And things like BrainCon and Soul Exchange deal with a lot of their threats because they're usually pretty monster-like.
Mhm.
So like Soul Exchange turns off War Chariot, Icarus Attack, and um, Gemini Spark.
Right.
You can turn off all of those with it, which are three of the decks that are like have the most back row, and so you're going to want to bring this stuff in. Um, the monarchs are like a threat that is bigger than what those decks put out, and Mobius acts like a third and fourth sweeper. Mobius, I think, is way better than Caius. I think I would put a third in this side. You can do plays like Mobius plus Treeborn plus Fishborg to make yourself a Stardust.
Which
Um,
is amazing.
you can level lead him too. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's so much flexibility with him. And after summoning him, being able to like heritage back substitute, do your full combo from there. Amazing card for the deck.
So
Brain control, triple. Yeah, go ahead.
what's the decision for the Treeborns on the side? So I know you wanted
Treeborns on the side.
you didn't want to brick the main.
Yes. There's two things mainly for the Treeborns on the side. One is I wanted to make sure Monarchs would be live, right? And there's times where if I don't have Treeborn, I would be bricked on. Two is it gives the opponent way too many crow targets that they have to hit. Like I'll have one Treeborn engrave and I'll activate it to bring it back. They kind of have to hit it. Um, Whereas normally with the main deck, nobody is on crow yet. So when I was siding, I would almost always bring in a Treeborn to give them something else to hit.
Mhm.
And I would bring in the Mobiuses usually too.
I love that.
But the predominant thing then is when doing that transformational sideboard, I'm also usually having to play a slower game. So Treeborns give a way to like play through oppression. They give that advantage over time, and the dupe lock into Unifrog is really strong, and
Yeah.
Treeborns help you get that better um, against those decks.
So these to out all the things we're talking about and the floodgate monsters like Fossil Dyna and Vanities.
There were
My
a bunch of games on stream where Keegan was like, "Damn, how does the opponent have like 3 cards left?" And
yeah,
oftentimes that ends up from Soul Exchange Mobius.
right. Plus a gazillion.
Yeah,
So it's like it doesn't even matter
that
what you're
outs
outing.
3 of their cards.
It just plays out the cards. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And you're it's going to be live because it's for those matchups. If it wasn't
Yep.
if you weren't in those games, you would just be doing this plan A.
Yep.
So another thing,
The other,
yeah.
My Body.
Mhm.
I believe you were on that, but I've
Yes.
realized more and more how crazy it is. It's not great against Glad Beasts, in particular, but your
Yeah.
other matchups that you care about, Hero Beat and Blackwings, very strong against. It also has the additional benefit of being in out to Herald of Orange Light.
Right.
I was thinking about this as I was potentially going into finals against ProStorm. Um, that there's not many ways if they have Herald of Orange Light first turn and they herald my Substitute, like I pretty much just have to wait. But My Body is a way going first that I can play through that disruption,
Yeah.
which is crazy good.
And then the last thing are these two.
Yeah. One of the
So
biggest things with this deck
yeah, so Mirror
is
Force
your
was
opponent
like
sees the
disgusting
entire
gotcha.
deck. Yes. You draw loop your entire deck, right? Going through this. So your opponent sees the whole thing. They know every card in your deck going into game 2. Which means one, they don't expect any monarchs, because why would they? And two, why would they expect torrential or mirror force when they know you don't have it and you're a combo deck, right? So why would you be running those bricks? But when you're expecting the game to have to be slower, so when you're going second or playing a back row heavy deck, you can bring those in, and you will you will get like a 3-for-1 every single time with it, because your deck wins if they run out of back row or if they play too slow of a game. And so they have to put you on as fast of a clock as possible, and they have to assume every back row is fake because of how your deck is. So you just automatically win when you manage to get either of those. Yeah.
Yeah, those are some huge moments on stream, and I think we're gonna see a lot more frog players. Well, I know Rognak likes Mirror Force and frogs, but maybe even just bringing the torrential for the weird gotcha moments.
Yeah. Torrential was especially better against Carpath because he was on Get You on the Tron.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So your side is only a little different. I was doing Urbellum instead of Urquazes, and we decided that it was about the same. I think I agree this is better, especially if you're level eating, because level 6s are a lot easier to make than 7s.
Yeah, Urbellum doesn't necessarily give you lethal through Gores or Trap. Urquizus does. So I think Urquizus is a lot better because of that. The thing Urbellum does is it gives you potential to hand loop them through it. Basically, they couldn't deal with you once, with what they had.
Right.
So if you draw lock them, they definitely won't be able to. So I do think Urquizus is a lot better in this build because it just instantly.
Yeah, I agree. So not too much different. You squeezed in the Ab Zero and you squeezed in the Power Tool. I think I had some filler stuff that didn't matter.
You had Red Dragon Archfiends for a specific 10,000 damage line.
Right.
Because I can make like triple armory every time, I don't really have those problems of needing to squeeze out the last 200 points. The other thing is I can at the end of the combo Heritage back Swap Frog, summon out Level Leader, bounce Level Leader to hand, pitch Eater for Fishborg, and summon Level Leader again, and that's an extra 1,700 points of damage to any board that I make.
That's so awesome.
Just off one extra card.
Right. Just using the skewed attack points on these weird small monsters. So what you're saying that there were some changes you'd make. So were there any changes you'd make to the main deck?
So the changes that I've been thinking about after doing this are putting Mobius and maybe one Treeborn in the main deck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think instead of some of the draw cards, going into this tournament, I had only played like 10 real matches and about 500 test hands.
That sounds about right.
Because this deck, the turns are so long, please, if you ever try this, make sure that you can combo very quickly with it. Like, make sure you do your homework, do your test hands, know how to play everything, don't mess it up.
Ever. Yeah, I'll bully anyone I find out. If I find out people are playing this deck poorly, I'm gonna drag you through the internet. I don't know.
And so this the thing with like Mobius and Treeborn is when you're doing solo practice hands, they really don't shine. They really don't pull for matter that much. Mm-hmm. Treeborn, I can see one of in the main. Again, it's an extra brick in there, but I feel much more confident now playing the slow game with this deck. And having 4 sweepers with 2 Mobius, Heavy, and Trunade is like pretty much cool. Guarantees that you'll see one and be able to get it out. And by having one Treeborn there, you'll have Tribute Father for the Mobiuses.
Yeah, I think that'd be really interesting to squeeze that in for sure. And you thought you were going to do so by like maybe going down to 1 dupe?
I don't think so. After testing against Glad Beasts,
it's too important.
The fact that you can just sit on double dupe and pass for like 6 turns off before they can figure out a way to deal with it is so important. So important. And you don't need to be getting Treeborn back to be getting advantage during that time because you have so much inevitability in this deck. And that doesn't come through incremental advantages so much as it comes from a 1-turn blowout.
Well, I think I might have like a master's degree in this deck and you have a PhD and then like tenure. So if anyone's I'm sure there's gonna be plenty more we have to talk about, but I think that's good enough for what we got here, and I'm sure there's gonna be more
Yeah.
coming in the future. It's still not
I
done.
think that shows up the deck really well. Yeah.
All
If
right.
people have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and that will let us know what else to make a video on.
Yeah, absolutely.
In relation to this deck, because there is so much that both of us have done with it,
Right.
both of us have tested, and yeah, if there's anything you want to know about it, if there's anything you want to see with it, just let us know.
Yeah, we're back. I'm like so backlogged on things I want to talk about because it had to be a secret for so long.
Thank you for keeping that.
Yeah, of course.
And shout out to all my teammates for practicing with me, especially Snack last minute, doing like 3 sets with me on Glad Beasts. This deck takes so long to combo that I feel bad for anyone facing it, but it really helps to have those sets with everyone. So yeah, thanks.
All right, cool. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
All right.